Hey everyone, I'm Megan Barnhard,
And I'm Ella Barnard.
and we're here in the Ultimate Writers Group, all writers welcome, to talk about how to trick our brains into writing more. As somebody who's focused on mindset, Ella, I know you have given me tons of great ways to trick myself into doing things. I love it. I appreciate it so much. And writing is such a great place to trick ourselves. Right? I mean, it's hard, but it's also got all that feeling of being hard. And so it's like when you go to face the thing that you know is difficult to do, we tend to put it off. I am driving around a car with wiper blades that don't wipe away rain because in my mind, like getting new wiper blades is really difficult. In reality, probably not. But in my mind, it's like, oh, this hassle. I have to go make an appointment at some place, but find some place. I guess that's the first challenge. So it's, like we put a barrier on certain things when we perceive they're going to be hard, and then we
Yes,
just don't do them.
yes.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if you have some favorite tricks for getting yourself in the writing mood, or just in general mindset tricks. Like, are there ways that you get yourself to start doing hard things?
Um, yeah, I do have general tricks, even especially for writing.
Yeah,
Um, like I've recently I know I need to write some content for our website.
yeah.
I haven't really okay, just so everybody knows, I write, but I write very slowly. I write very slowly. It's very difficult because I feel like I have a ton of thoughts in my head that are not easy to translate into words. And so um, I'm echoing a little bit, but so I hope it's okay.
I'm not hearing your echo, so I hope other people aren't.
Okay, we'll see. Let's see. It's not bad. Anyway, so what I do is one thing that I do that I'm really, really grateful for is on Google Drive, on Google Docs.
Yeah.
Google just made I think it's like a Google it's probably not Google Voice, but they have an option where you can click their little microphone.
Oh yeah, voice typing it's in the cool section. Yeah.
I love voice typing because I can talk. Here's the thing, my because I think a lot of people have this. The initial creation of the content is harder sometimes than the revising of the content.
Yeah.
Like I have that for sure. And so being able to talk it out and then revise it is really awesome. I love that.
And
That's one.
and what's so fantastic is it's almost like you get to skip the rough draft part. I feel like rough drafting is very hard for so many reasons. There are a lot of different places along the writing process where it's challenging, and of course, different people relate to it differently. Like for some people, brainstorming is really challenging. But I think there's a commonality where getting a rough draft is very, very hard because that's when you're getting complete sentences. That's not just the like, oh, I have this great idea. I'm going to tell you about my great idea. And it's also not the, oh, there's something on paper. I'm going to go through and, make it better. It's like, there was nothing and now there's something.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
that's huge. That is absolutely huge. That is the act of creation. And so if you can trick yourself into drafting in some way, and I love the idea of doing voice typing because you're just talking. It's no big deal when you're talking, right? You're not sitting there going, what is the perfect word? And oh, I have to make sure that this is my most artful sentence ever.
Yes.
Yeah, so powerful.
Yeah,
And I've
I have no mental barrier to talking.
yeah, I think well, I shouldn't say most people, but I think for so many people, it's true that talking is way easier than writing. Way, way easier. I mean, I do this with my writing clients all the time. I trick them into writing by just saying, well, just talk to me. And I type incredibly fast and I just write down what they're saying. It's kind of the equivalent of the voice typing, but with the addition of my asking questions and saying, say more about that, or, tell me what you mean by that. I love it. What a fantastic
Awesome.
trick. Yeah. And then you have something there. Then you have something on paper you can actually start
Yes.
with.
Yeah.
You were talking about working on a page for our website, and I had the experience recently of tricking myself in writing sales copy, which is really challenging for me to write, because I was writing an email to somebody. And I realized like the things I was describing in the email, somebody had asked about a program. And the things I was describing, I'm like, wait, this is what anybody would need to know about this program to think it was interesting. But for me, writing in the context of an email, just informing one person and saying, hey, here's, what we could do, and getting all excited about that, it flowed so much more easily. So another great trick to get yourself writing is change the context. I love writing in Google Docs. For me, it is just a little bit more flexible and free than a Word document. But switching up the place where you're writing, opening an email, if you really like talking to people, opening up an email and typing in that can make a huge difference. And just finding the place where you feel a little freer. And a lot of writers say it's typing on the computer is so bad for their creativity. Walk away from the computer, grab a journal.
I love those two things. I love the trick of, because emails are casual, right?
Mm-hmm.
Emails are casual. You're just like, I'm just going to type this thing, jot this quick note. And you can use that format. So you can be like, I'm just going to casually write. Yeah. Just anything that you can do to take the barriers off. And I also love the idea of, you can start your writing, because the blank page of a computer is difficult. But if you can start writing by hand, and then move to computer, if that's faster for you, like, I love them. Those are some awesome tricks for just
I've been seeing a really cool thing with my writing students lately. I've been doing a lot of workshops and classes with like middle school and high school age kids. And here's something I found that's the ultimate trick. I will have in mind, like, where, based on where they are in their stories, I'll kind of have in mind something I think would help them write the next scene. But I don't say, today we're going to work on your, your climactic scenes or whatever it is. I say, okay, today we're going to do a free write. And I'll design the free write to be, to lead into a climactic moment. Like, we're going to do a free write about struggle. Put your character in a situation where she's struggling. Or one of my favorites lately has been doing a free write. I can't believe I'm here again. Or how did I get here? Which just kind of lends itself to so many different things, but it seems to be like sparking. It's almost like talking directly to the student's intuition instead of their conscious mind. And then they write these great scenes, and then they can look back and go, well, where would this fit in my story? And they don't always fit. Sometimes you get a free write and it's not going to become part of your story. And sometimes I'm surprised. Sometimes it's not. They want to put it in a place where I wouldn't have thought to put it. Like, it's your story, go for it. But this is, for me, the ultimate trick. And it's saying, I'm just doing a free write.
Just a free write.
No pressure. No pressure. I'm not even drafting. I'm just writing a free write. And then you're like, oh, this is a really good free write. Oh, this looks like this could be my climax. So for anybody who struggles with drafting, stopping doing a free write, it's so powerful, and you just tap into a different part of your brain, right? You get into do you know why that is? Do you know the magic behind it? It's like a direct line to your unconscious creativity. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the barriers, the things that stop us from writing, is just our own high expectations. Like, I am sitting down and I am writing. It's not like it's right. I'm going to go write. It's like writing, all in caps, W-R-I. Like, it's like the act of writing. And so I think when you can say, I'm just going to do a free write is like all lower caps, kind of like scribbled out there. It's like, I'm going to free write.
And there's not even an expectation that it has to go in your story. Nope. And when I ask people to free write, I like them to have a highlighter or a pen. And this is another great trick too, that because for some people, even just saying I'm going to free write is not as freeing. I notice for a lot of people, it's a great switch, but there are some people where it's still like, I'm writing and I don't know what to write. And so I tell them, okay, well, what we're going to do is we're going to free write. And we've got these highlighters or pens. And after we free write, we're going to look for treasure. And that's a further trick, which says you may write a whole lot of baloney, right? Like you may fill up the whole page with things that are like random and you don't like them. But within that, you're going to have probably some phrases or some words or description. You're like, that is treasure. And this whole rest of the free write, I could leave, you know, I don't care about it. But the way I describe that one moment, I love it. And I've found that was, cause I worked with a writer recently who was just very, opposed to the idea. He seemed opposed to the idea that he could write anything interesting, which felt sad to me. And this was an adult, interestingly.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that makes sense, right? Because we build up more fear and we build up more judgment of ourselves. Yes. But I just could sense that he was so opposed to the idea he could write something great. And the free writing and looking for treasure was very powerful for him. And I give people the option of sharing their entire free writes or just sharing parts. And it started with he shared his treasure and then he ended up, well, I'll just read you the whole thing. Which was so cool because it was him allowing space for there to be really great writing. But yeah, I've done free writes before in classes where the teacher said specifically, if you don't know what to write, I don't know what to write. You know, just let the words flow. And it's like turning on the tap in the old house and the rusty water comes out and then it clears. So it's a way of clearing that stuff out. So powerful.
Yeah.
When it comes to the then taking your free write and doing something with it, I always recommend too that people save free writes because you might not use it for this project, but you might use it for something down the road. And you're building up a practice of giving yourself the freedom to write. That's really what you're doing. There's a muscle there, right? Like the more you trick yourself into doing it, the easier it becomes.
Yes. Yeah. What do you think about, we should do like some writing prompts that we could just like, we should start posting writing prompts.
Because I should do some of these free writes. I will. I'll post some of these free writes because I've been getting such cool stuff from my students. Again, based on like I've got an ulterior motive where I'm like, this would kind of help you write a particular scene. But yeah, I will. I'll post some of those topics. And I know you've said in the past that you've looked for free writing prompts and just kind of been, you know, found that they're lackluster. So if there's anybody who wants a particular kind of free write prompt, or if you want, let me put it this way, you want to be able to write a particular scene or a kind of scene in your story. If you tell us what kind of scene that would be, we will reverse engineer and get you a free write that will steer you in that direction. So it'd be fun to let us know.
But I like having the prompt so that we can practice the free writing, so we can practice the muscle. I need that. I'm at the beginning stages of writing. I know in this group we have a lot of really prolific, experienced writers, so they might not do the free write prompting, but I bet you that they still like the trick your mind for when you're not in the mood.
Yeah, and it's a way too of dealing with the formula of writing, because I think this is a part of tricking our minds into writing, but also part of the challenge of writing. There's a formula, and you're following a formula, and that can kind of be a drag, right? So at a certain point, you're like, oh, now I have to get my character into the situation so he can solve the conflict, and it's following this plot map. But free writing, even I think for experienced writers, can be a nice way to get out of that monotony. And also, we were talking about the challenge of starting and the blank page syndrome, where it's intimidating to look at the blank page. But I also have worked with writers whose thinking is so like complex and dense that their challenge is slowing down and doing one scene at a time. Does that
Mm-hmm.
make sense? That it's like they could go all day and it's not the blank page that scares them. It's this idea like I can only type so fast or I can only write so fast. And I think like slowing down and doing a free write can be really helpful for that too, because you're again taking your brain out of the mode of I have to write this scene for my story, and just explore and let it be bigger and broader. Okay, I have another favorite trick.
Yeah,
I want to share.
Yeah.
It's asking people to tell their stories out loud the way as if you're telling your story to you're telling a bedtime story to somebody. Because what you're really doing is summarizing. And again, if you can get on Google Voice Typing and do this, tell your story, let Google type it out. Well, now you've got an outline.
Yeah.
Right. And you might do this after you've already started writing. Sometimes the reason it's hard to keep going and the reason we need to trick ourselves is because we're not sure how to get from point A to point B, or like things are just so complicated. We're in the middle of a tough scene and it's like, wait, I need to zoom out and get a bigger view and what's going on. So if you tell your story and let Google Voice type it out, you've got an outline now. And then you can look at the points, right? Because the way you will have told it was, well, then she had to do this, but in order to do that, she needed this. So you can start mapping out, okay, well, how will I move from this point to this point in the story? And that draws in your analytical thinking and your problem solving. And, we've been talking about tapping into your more creative mind, your more intuitive mind to get moving again. But for some people, the answer is getting a little bit more analytical, and going, oh, okay, here's how I'll proceed from point A to point B. So I've been finding that is so powerful. And then you can just write like, okay, from my inciting incident to my first piece of rising action, what has to happen? And actually encourage people to make it, I encourage my writers to make like a table with columns where you like can see exactly how many steps it will take you. Like you just start with 3 columns or something, and you put in where you are now and where you want to get to, and you expand it and add more columns as you add steps. And then what you're looking at is it's a roadmap of exactly how you're going to get there. And that's it. Yeah, that's a trick in the sense that you're putting yourself into a thinking space that's a little bit more.
I like to have like it's in a similar fashion. I like to have the 3x5 cards. I like to have things outlined out on 3x5 cards. I am not a sit and create from my head, right? Just in the moment. And so, I like to. One of the ways that I trick myself is if I have my whole story or book outlined on 3x5 cards and I'm stuck on one and I'm like not moving, I pick up a different card.
I love it. Yeah.
I'm like, this is not moving anywhere, but I need to be writing something. I pick up a different card and I work on a different part of the book.
I love that. I mean, it's easy to get sucked into thinking that because we read the writing in a linear way, we have to produce it in a linear way. And of course we don't. Yeah. So moving away from the task that's stymieing you and getting to one that you can do. I love it. And then it gives you that feeling of more freedom.
Awesome. Yep. And at the end of the day,
I feel like
I wrote a bunch. Yay!
Yeah. I feel like a word that's come up in several of our tricks is the word just. I'm just free writing. I'm just, I'm just trying. I'm just doing this. And there's another trick with just that I know is popular for a lot of people working, and it's even got a name of Pomodoro. But this idea of I'm just writing for a set amount of time. Am I getting the name right?
I don't know.
It's setting a timer, but it's just setting a timer.
Yeah.
And you put on something reasonable, like 15 or 20 minutes, and you say to yourself, I'm just writing until the timer goes.
Mm-hmm.
And if the timer goes and you've been miserable the whole time, you get to stop. You said you were going to stop then, totally reasonable. But if the timer goes off and you still have juice and you still have the will to write, well, guess what? You can keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
But
brilliant. That's brilliant.
and it works for a lot of tasks, but I think for writing, knowing there's an end in sight can be
Yes.
really, really powerful. And also, I think it is another great way to take the pressure off, because if you're just writing in 20 minutes, you certainly can't expect that you're going to write the best thing that's ever been written.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Yeah.
20 minutes. How would I ever write something fantastic? So it urges you to just get something out on paper. And like you were saying, once you can get something out on paper, you're in a better place. You can
Ooh, I have another one.
revise.
I have another one. Another way to trick yourself into writing is to write with other people, like in a
Yes.
writing group, like where everybody's writing.
Yes. Solidarity.
Yeah, yeah. So we call it, like, some of the things we call like co-working. It would be like co-writing, a
Yep.
co-writing time where you aren't necessarily writing the same book. You're not writing on the same book, but
Yeah.
you and a few other people are all gathered together. And what are you doing together? Writing. It's like study group when you were in college, where you would all just get together and study, and it was so much easier because there was a whole bunch of you studying together.
Yeah.
But writing together. That's a
And-
really
Yeah, it's like it takes some of the pain away because you know everybody's doing it, but it also makes it feel kind of cool,
yeah.
right? Like, this is the thing everybody's doing. I want to be part of that. I want to
Yeah.
get into this. I love that. Yeah, that's
Right,
so,
those two. That would be fun.
yeah. Mhm.
I'm thinking
Um,
about that.
and also there's the accountability piece, right? Because if you schedule that ahead of time, if you say, all right, on Thursday nights, we're all going to get online, or we're going to get together at the library, or wherever it is, and write together, you're building that habit in addition. So you get the wonderful support and the solidarity, but it's also like keeping that commitment to yourself of, this is my writing time. Oh, I love it. Yeah. If you can write with other people, it's so, so powerful. And then of course you can also stop and go, hey guys, what do you think of this character said this? Or
Yeah.
start workshopping things.
Yes. Yeah. I love it. I love it.
Hey, these are, oh my gosh, these are some of my favorite ways to trick myself. And it's not mean. It's not mean to trick yourself into doing the thing you want to do. If you want to be writing more, it's not mean to trick yourself into writing more.
When at the end of the day, or at the end of the period, or whatever time that you have done some writing, and you're like, I did good.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's like exercise. You never regret doing it. It may be hard to get started and hard to get motivated, but you don't ever walk away going, oh man, I wish I had spent that time watching TV instead of writing.
No.
Right? It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. So yeah. Oh, fantastic. I love it. Okay, well, I will definitely gather up some of my favorite free write prompts and post them in the group. And again, I would love it. Like, one of my favorite things is helping people get past their stuck points in writing. So if you're struggling with a particular scene in your book, or a particular kind of scene, if you let me know, I will do my best to get you a prompt that will help you rewrite past it.
Yeah.
Or analytically think past it. Either way, you can let me know the approach. Yeah, what were you going to say, Ella?
I was just curious, if anybody is interested in doing co-writing stuff in the group, please let us know, because I think that would be super fun. I really think that would be very powerful.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Writing is a solitary thing, and I think people could, it helps to have a group.
Yes.
Yeah.
makes you part of the world again. Yeah, I love it. Oh, such cool ideas. Oh, I love how inspiring it is talking to you. I always have a couple of ideas, and then we start chatting, and I'm like, oh, and also this and this. And this is kind of an example of, the power of co-thinking and co-working, right? It's that just the energy itself of having somebody else there. It's like, oh, now my brain is in supercharged mode. I love it. Yay. Fantastic. All
Thank
right. Well, we'll see you all later,
Yeah.
and please let us know your questions and whether you're interested in some co-writing. And have a
Yeah.
great bye-bye.
Bye.